Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you for tuning in for another edition of Truth Buster News. I am your host, CJ, the creator and originator of my channel. Before I jump into the topic this evening, I want to express my sincerest apologies for not putting any reports out over the last over a month now. I have been dealing with personal matters that required my attention within my family and my work life, my professional life. And I've also had technical difficulties with getting work out. You can probably think of something that's happened with me. But I am back on the scene, and I'm going to be getting work out as soon as possible when I get the opportunity and the time and the chance to do so. But I got to be honest with you, it's been one hell of a bang-up year so far. We have seen so many events. Too many to keep track of, too many to count. And too many to grasp at most times. There has been so much that has poured out nationally, worldwide. It keeps you in a perpetual whirlwind of not knowing what to rely on as a source of information. I mean, there's just been so much. Now, I'm not going to dive into everyone because I don't remember them off the top of my head, but I'll name off just a few. The ongoing potential conflict with North Korea. It's increased, decreased, publicly. Behind the scenes, they're still making moves. We have the explosion of the Bitcoin. And I've seen a lot of that. I'm not going to dive into that topic until I get more research and to give my own analysis of it. I may jump into that debacle, I may not. And then we have the attacks of terrorism that continue to arise, domestically and internationally. But since I'm giving you a brief channel update, I am going to be working on a series of videos and reports on a subject that envelops us in one aspect or another of our daily life, and how it has progressed to be a factor that it is today. I'm going to start from the beginning of how the mass of the planet has been acclimated and programmed to accept it through various outlets. And that topic that I'm speaking of right now is AI. Now, many people have given you the technical aspect of how AI came about and given their analysis. I am going to do that as well, but I am also going to tell you on how, I just said it a second ago, how people have become acclimated and programmed to accept it. And that is through the predictive programming machine of entertainment and media. So I'm going to be working on that. I'm also going to be continuing my series that I did start, check my playlist, Government Funding Terrorism. I'm going to continue that series as well. But there may be another series or two I might start. I haven't came to that decision yet, but I will let you know. Okay. What I want to talk to you about tonight is some of the things you may not or may agree with. You just might stick your nose up at the subject. That's fine. You can if you choose to. But just a couple weeks ago, or less, Jeff Sessions is now back on the fight of making marijuana, cannabis, bud, weed, on it, whatever name you want to give it, illegal once again. And that infuriated me. The reasons why it infuriated me, because throughout history it has been given stereotype after stereotype of, oh, it's a gateway drug. It may or may not be. It depends on the person. They might choose to go down the narcotic path after they smoke a bowl, a joint, a blunt, a bong hit, pipe hit, whatever you want to call it, knife hit, gravity bong, vaporizer. If they take the hit the first time, oh, they might want to go down that path of doing crack, heroin, meth, acid, PCP, angel dust, whippets. That's on that person. If they choose to use that as a tool and put the blame on that, that's on them, all right? But as a whole, I don't necessarily think that stipulation and stereotype fits. Now, yes, I might smoke a little weed now and then. That's my decision. That's my choice. All right? But that's not why it made me infuriated. He's been on this thing for off and on for quite a while now. You see, there is a difference of being conservative to right wing, even beyond right wing. And in this aspect, I think he is crossing the threshold of going beyond right wing. The research, I'm going to go over to the medical factor of it. The research has been put in, and the possibilities, there's been studies that have been done. It cures a lot of diseases and ailments. It helps cancer patients that go to chemo. They get on CBD or medical marijuana. They no longer have to go to chemo because that herb is helping them heal. There are a multitude of beneficial uses and practices for marijuana. have an article that I found pretty damn disturbing. And it so fits right along with this very subject. In some things, people have ulterior motives. The various decisions and actions and plans when they project their ideology to the population. In almost every case out of them all, there's always a hidden agenda. And to put pen to paper, if you will, of an article from Blacklisted News. Title: Session wages war on natural cannabis as he grants the maker of fentanyl a monopoly on synthetic THC. Now, over within the last year, is gaining more exposure and coverage. The deadly use of fentanyl. It is 10 times stronger and more potent and more powerful than heroin. The death toll on overdose from just a teeny tiny amount of fentanyl is gradually increasing in number. So Jeff Sessions wants to grant the makers of this drug a monopoly on synthetic THC. The author of this article is Matt Algarist. Instead of going after criminals and the government or making an attempt to thwart corruption, Attorney General Jeff Sessions made his decision clear this week. He intends to crucify those who dare to ingest a plant that makes them healthier and happier. In a statement released by the Justice Department on Thursday, Jeff Sessions revised the policy of allowing states to make their own decisions on legalizing cannabis and vowed to dedicate federal tax dollars and resources to enforcing this tyranny. It is the mission of the DOJ to enforce the laws of the U.S., and the previous issuance of guidance undermines the rule of law and the ability of our local, state, and tribal and federal law enforcement partners to carry out this mission. Therefore, today's memo on federal marijuana enforcement simply directs all U.S. attorneys to use previously established prosecutorial principles that provide them all the necessary tools to disrupt criminal organizations, tackle the growing drug crisis, and thwart violent crime across our country. Revealing the sheer hypocrisy and criminality of Sessions' move, which vowed to uphold the archaic and Dystopic Controlled Substances Act of 1970 that prohibits the cultivation, distribution, and possession of marijuana. Sessions' DEA granted a company a monopoly on the sale of the synthetic form of the plant, which contains the extract properties of cannabis. The active ingredient in cannabis, THC, remains classified as a Schedule I drug, meaning the government claims that it is dangerous, addictive, and has no medical value. Coincidentally, over the Thanksgiving holiday, the DOJ's Drug Enforcement Administration granted NC's Therapeutics, a rogue pharmaceutical company rife with corruption, a Schedule II classification on their synthetic form of THC, dronabinol. Instead of allowing people to use a natural form of a plant that can cure them, Jeff Sessions will use taxpayer dollars to continue cannabis prohibition, while his DEA grants a monopoly on the exact same substance, only synthetic, to NYES. For those who don't know, NYES has become notorious over the last 2 years after 6 former executives and managers were arrested on charges that they engaged in a nationwide scheme to bribe doctors to prescribe a drug containing the opioid fentanyl. Now, this same group as dangerous drug peddlers is being given a partial national monopoly on the sale of legal THC by the group who claims to protect Americans from drugs. Along with executive Michael Biak, the former CEO was also charged with an indictment filed in federal court. Even the company's billionaire founder, John Kapoor, was arrested in October for his role in the bribery scheme. He was freed on a $1 million bail after pleading not guilty. The idea that the DEA would provide a company who was caught bribing doctors to prescribe opioid drugs that have led to one of the largest addiction problems in the history of the world, with the pass to sell their synthetic version of a plant they continue to kidnap, cage, and kill people over is infuriating, to say the least. When asked about this covert conflict of interest and unscrupulous handout to Big Pharma, the DEA answered with a typical bureaucratic reply. As Vice reported, the DEA noted in its announcement that it received public comments from people opposed to making synthetic THC, brought it Schedule 2 while keeping marijuana Schedule 1. The DEA also said two commenters expressed concern that the pharmaceutical companies are making a profit from approved drugs containing marijuana constituents. The DEA notes that the FDA-approved products of oral solutions containing dronabinol, THC, have an approved medical use, whereas marijuana does not have an approved medical use and therefore remains in Schedule 1. The HCC said in its response, "There you have it. If you need any more proof that the U.S. government is in corruption, you needn't look any further than the DOJ's relationship with NYES, a company whose drug is responsible for tens of thousands of deaths a year, and who has a sinister history of bribing doctors to prescribe this drug, was given a monopoly on the sale of synthetic THC. While the federal government promises to kidnap, cage, or kill anyone who tries to compete with them by selling the natural version, and people still have the audacity to call this place the land of the free." So Big Pharma wants to continue its monotonous murdering policies on the masses. And Jeff Sessions is okay with that. And so is his DEA. And his DOJ. Now, I've heard the counter argument, not directly from Trump, but people who work within this administration. I see in the comments that people have quoted from them that they're not for Sessions' plan on this agenda. Time will tell. But for the audacity on this move to make it once again illegal to obtain, to buy, to possess. And the countermeasure, oh, here, take this fake shit. falls in the lines with that. Not necessarily spice or the fake weed, but it's a possibility it could turn that direction. Now we've seen the side effects of people using spice and the synthetic weed, of how it changes them as an individual on a case-by-case study. So what are your thoughts? Share below. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, hit that bell. Hit the subscribe button. You get the notifications for all my videos that I'm going to be putting out, and you can get a step ahead of what's going on. If you have any news tips you would like for me to share, I will keep you completely anonymous unless you give me permission to share your identity. Other than that, I will just report on what you send me. But I only ask that you make sure that it has some kind of credible or reliability to it. That it's just not something made out of thin air. That's all I ask. But if it's not 100% credible, find a way to make it do so. Do a little bit of research. If you don't have everything together and you just have a little bit, if you can't give me the research, give me the links to follow up. And you can send tips to truthbusternews@gmail.com. You can also follow me on my Twitter, Truthbuster. So I want to thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you taking time out of your day to take in what I have to say and evaluate my thoughts. Comment below. Agree, disagree, that's your own decision, your own will. But this is just insane. It goes to the insanity level. I'm gonna take you away with the good thing, give you the poison. I'm going to take away something that can make you healthy, whatever ailment, illness, disease you might have. And if you're using it on a recreational or medical use, they want to outlaw that and give you the fake, the deadly one. Because fentanyl's death is rising every year. God bless. Be safe. Prepare for anything. Be prepared for anything. Surviving the other day in this matrix-based